Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I am both in Air RB and later in Ground RB in the new Italian interceptor slash strike fighter, the Ro.57 Quadriarma. And it is a beautiful looking plane. I love how big the engines are, and it is just the premium reward plane that you get in the Operation Winter, at least the first one, and it is a decent premium. It has a civil-line modifier of 2.2, the highest is 2.7 for planes, so that's quite decent. And it has a also nice, for this battle rating, RP modifier of 1.24, and obviously then a talisman with it. The plane itself sits at battle rating 2.7, rank 2, as I said, premium, and it comes with two 20mm Hispano 404s and also two 12.7mm Breda Safed machine guns. So, two 20mm, two heavy machine guns, you get 120 rounds in total for the two Hispanos and 700 rounds in total for the Breda Safed heavy machine guns. They're all centrally mounted, and in theory you have a nice package of damage. In practice though, the ammunition for the 20s is rather limited, especially versus rather tough targets. When the Hisparcos just don't spark, they do great damage, but very often they spark, you miss, or you run out of ammunition before you can connect a decent amount of shells. But, you know, when you have steady aim, then they do their job. So, 404, damage not found, sadly not a meme here. Or, thankfully not a meme here. Then we come to also the heavy machine guns, and as usual for those Breda Safed machine guns, they just don't do that much damage. I mean, it's good to have them, they're literally better than nothing, and you have with 700 rounds a bit of ammunition for it, but, you know, not too serious. The next thing is that you also have some payload, because you can use this, as we'll see in just a moment, also as ground attacker. First of all, the 20mm, if you choose to use the AP belt, have 26mm of penetration. At 500 meters only 17 versus flight armor, so it's not really that impressive. And the heavy machine guns are even worse, down to 6mm at 500 meters, you know. At some point you need to pull up or crash into the ground. But then there is some more. There is bomb load. So you have two very interesting bomb loads. The first one being a single GP 508 kilogram bomb with 216 kilograms of TNT. That's a single bomb. It gets dropped from just under the fuselage, and it has a release mechanism just like Stuka, so you have to be steady on target for 2 seconds and then the bomb is released. The next thing is what I use here, where you have two AP 160 kilogram bombs with a mere 60 kilograms of TNT, so you have to be pretty close on target, and a single 250 kilogram GP250 bomb with 125.7 kilograms of TNT, where the blast radius is a bit bigger and you also have the same release mechanism. So the two 160 bombs are wing mounted and they get released immediately, and the center bombs under the fuselage just take a second or two to be released with this Stuka-like release mechanism that pushes the bomb away from the fuselage. The plane, well, it's to be honest, not that extremely powerful when it comes to the engines. It is not terrible, but it's definitely not amazing. In RRB, you have the advantage of getting an attacker spawn, so you spawn roughly already 2000 meters in the air, which is nice. Air spawn with some altitude, always nice. And versus slow bombers, yeah, you then can intercept them. However, your engines tend to overheat, and well, that is a problem. After like 5 minutes on a normal map, you even overheat without war emergency power, and then you have to do this. You have to control this manually with the manual engine control, or go below 100% of power, which then makes the plane really slow. Not duck slow, but still pretty slow. The maneuverability is also not that great, and the overall speed, even in a dive, it just doesn't want to pick up that much speed. Now you want to say, well, it's a battle rating, it's a very low battle rating plane of only 2.7. Yeah, but still, it feels like it has an awful amount of drag and is just feeling underpowered. And then there is the rolling, which sometimes is really crazy, and I mean, in theory it can go really fast, but in practice it takes an awful amount of altitude to get to the speed to push it through. And the maneuverability is also not that great. Now I don't want to get too much into details here, but think of this as a light bomber rather than a heavy fighter. At certain speeds, yes, it pulls around, but you really have to be careful at any time. And this is before we come to talk about the firepower versus tough targets, just like this IL-2. Just look at the amount of hits that I get in and where he just doesn't take the appropriate damage. So hitting the wings all over the place, we get some nice new visual effects. But when I get hit by even as mere as light machine guns, granted they are Russian so they are special, this happens. A flat spin. So, duh. But overall, to be honest, this plane was fun, and it's been a while since I played, first of all, planes in tank RP. I usually don't do this. And second of all, I also don't really play lower battle ratings that often. But it's nice to see that, especially here, the rather new Italian premium tank, the Celebre Sahariano, at 2.3 is pretty bouncy and also pretty fast, surprisingly so. And it makes for a good combination. There are quite a few Italian tanks and planes at this battle rating where those two things fit in really nicely. And so I had my fair share of fun for the few battles that I played. So is this something that is good? Yes. Low tier premium, it's fun, it's cool, it has something going for it. And if you train with it, then obviously it can do the job. However, by the way, watch this kill shot from the Steward. Watch that. Spoiler, he fires AP, but it behaves like a hash round and kills my driver through the heavily angled frontal plate. Well, doesn't matter. Let's pick the plane, and we have acquired enough spawn points. We pick actually the ground target belt. Again, with only 120 rounds, it's a bit iffy. And so we start our bombing run. I intend to also help my team out at sea. Now, I've mentioned that I don't play that often in ground RB with planes, because I myself don't really like, punishing players when they killed me to go immediately for the autistic revenge kill. This is something that I think is good for demonstration purposes on YouTube, but as a real valid gameplay tactic, I don't like it. I know you can earn a super duper amount of civil lines and RP, and there is also this magic of in ground battles that you have no markers for the planes, but to be honest, watch that. Yep, that was a 20mm AP gun run kill. I also spot some tanks on the ground, and this is where I think I didn't do any sort of revenge killing there. That LVT was not involved in getting me killed. Anyway, so I spot here the tank, it's an N3 Lee, he reverses, I straighten out the plane, drop the bomb, and with a 2-second delay, I'm clear of the blast, which then kills the tank. I hear a plane, and there he is, and that seems to be a Potez 633, so I want to pull up, but you can see the plane is not really in the mood for doing so. I am still in possession of quite a bit of ammunition, but I don't want to waste it, and I just can't hit him, and I don't do really the amount of damage. I get a critical hit, he smokes up, another plane comes in, and I want to get rid of this big bomb, so I turn around, but the Potez behind me also, and lo and behold, he is already behind me, and with his mighty 7.5mm machine gun, he just hits me repeatedly, while the single shell doesn't really do all that much damage. the flight model is rather fragile and I cannot shake him for the love of it. At this point there are multiple aircraft in the air. I know I'm going down, but not without a little surprise. And with having said this, that's it for me today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like with it, subscribe if you want to see more, have some nice holidays, and we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.